Hey, if you've got a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, or even a Fiat from around the 2015 to 2025 model years, you need to see this. Have you ever been at the gas station trying to fill up and the pump just keeps clicking off? Every few seconds. Click. You try pulling the nozzle out a bit. You try turning it upside down. You try squeezing the handle slower. It's frustrating and time-consuming. Well, you're not alone, and there's a very common reason for this. It all comes down to a critical part of your vehicle's emission system. We're talking about the Evap system. Its job is to trap harmful fuel vapors before they escape into the atmosphere. But when one specific part of it acts up, it can cause this exact headache. Stick with me because today we're going to break down exactly what's going on, how to diagnose it, and most importantly, I'll show you what you can expect to pay to get it fixed right. Alright, let's get right into the nitty-gritty. There's a key piece of information floating around that sheds light on this whole issue. You can find it by searching for NHTSA ID 11015810. This document references a manufacturer communication number 9100471. Now, it's really important to understand what this is and what it isn't. This is not a safety recall, and it's not even a formal technical service bulletin, or TSB. It's labeled as a GPOP, which stands for Global Powertrain Operation Pointer. Think of it as an internal memo, a pro tip from Stellantis headquarters directly to their dealership service technicians. It's designed to help them diagnose recurring problems faster and more accurately, preventing them from just throwing expensive parts at an issue. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, publishes these communications for public transparency, which is great for us because it gives us a direct look into how the manufacturer recommends fixing this specific problem. So what's the core issue here? As we mentioned, if your gas pump keeps clicking off, you've almost certainly got an Evap system problem. Specifically, the evidence points to a component called the ESIM, or Evaporative System Integrity Monitor. To understand why this little part causes such a big problem, you first need to know how the system is supposed to work. Your fuel tank needs to breathe. As you pump fuel in, the air and fuel vapors already inside the tank have to go somewhere. They're routed through a charcoal canister, which absorbs the vapors, and then vented out through a filter. The ESIM is essentially a smart switch that helps the car's computer perform a self-test to make sure this entire system is sealed and has no leaks. When you're refueling, this vent path needs to be wide open. If the ESIM fails in the closed position, or if there's a blockage elsewhere in the line, that air and vapor gets trapped. The pressure builds up in the filler neck almost instantly. And that back pressure is what physically triggers the gas pump nozzle to shut off, just as if the tank were full. The ESIM detector can fail internally, and when it does, your car's computer will know something is wrong, triggering the check engine light. When you scan for codes, you'll likely see a whole family of Evap-related faults. You might see a P0440, a general Evap system malfunction. You could also see P0441 for incorrect purge flow, P0452 indicating a pressure sensor issue, or the common leak codes. P0455 for a large leak, P0456 for a small leak, and P0457 for a loose gas cap type leak, even if your cap is tight. So based on that GPOP tip and best practices, here's the diagnostic path a good technician is told to follow. First, and this is a big money saver, don't just automatically replace the entire Evap canister assembly. The canister itself is just a box of charcoal. The ESIM is a separate replaceable switch attached to it. If only the ESIM is bad, just replace the ESIM. It's a much cheaper part. Second, before replacing any parts, perform a thorough visual inspection of the hoses. Technicians are told to look for kinked or pinched hoses, especially the clean air hose that runs between the ESIM and the Evap air filter. This hose can get twisted during other repairs, creating a bottleneck. While you're there, inspect that Evap air filter. If it's clogged with dirt, it can't breathe, so replace it if it's restricted. Third, and this is the more serious possibility, check for liquid fuel in the canister. The charcoal canister is designed for vapor, not raw gas. If it's saturated, it's ruined. This usually happens because an internal vapor line inside the fuel tank has become disconnected from the fuel delivery module, or FDM. If fuel is present, the only proper fix is to drop the fuel tank, access the FDM, and verify that connection. If that internal line was indeed disconnected, the procedure is to drain the tank, securely reconnect the line, and then you must replace both the fuel-soaked canister and the ESIM. A quick search online confirms just how widespread this is. Owners on Reddit and Jeep forums are filled with threads describing the exact same symptom. This isn't a coincidence. Many of these Stellantis vehicles are built on shared platforms with shared components, so a common failure point on one model often appears on others. You'll find countless DIY videos of owners tackling this job themselves. Many people discover temporary workarounds like rotating the gas nozzle or filling the tank at a trickle. But let's be honest, that's a frustrating band-aid, not a solution. The only real permanent fix is to properly diagnose and correct the root cause. You have to find the bottleneck, whether that's a faulty sensor, a simple restriction in a hose, or a disconnected line inside the tank. Straighten or replace those kinked hoses and securely reconnect any loose internal lines. Alright, let's talk cost. The most common failure is the ESIM switch itself. The part typically costs between $50 and $120. When you add in labor for diagnosis and installation, most shops will charge a total of around $150 to $350 for the complete job. This is the most typical repair cost. However, if the diagnosis finds that your charcoal canister is saturated with fuel, the cost will jump significantly. The canister itself is a more expensive part, and the labor to drop the fuel tank is much more intensive. In this case, the repair bill can easily climb to the $400 to $600 range, and sometimes even higher. So, to recap, a technician should first inspect all the hoses and the air filter for simple restrictions. If those are fine, they should test and, if faulty, replace the ESIM switch. They should only recommend replacing the entire canister if it is confirmed to be saturated with liquid fuel. Following these steps ensures you're not paying for parts you don't need. So, the bottom line on cost, for a simple ESIM replacement, you're looking at around $150 to $350 total. But if that canister is soaked and the tank needs to be dropped, expect that to be closer to the $400 to $600 range. Now let's talk about some DIY fixes you can try at home if you're comfortable working on your vehicle. First, always start by checking for obvious issues like loose or cracked hoses around the Evap canister and ESIM. Make sure all connections are tight and there are no visible kinks or blockages. If you find a kinked hose, carefully straighten it out or replace it if it's damaged. Next, inspect the Evap air filter. If it's dirty or clogged, replacing it is a simple and inexpensive fix. You can also check your gas cap for a proper seal, as a loose or worn cap can trigger Evap codes. If you're handy, you can use a basic OBD2 scanner to clear codes after making repairs, but only do this if you're sure the problem is fixed. Remember, if you smell fuel or see signs of a leak, it's best to leave repairs to a professional. Safety first. To sum up, some Evap and ESIM issues can be tackled at home with basic tools and a careful approach. But if you're ever unsure, or if the problem persists, don't hesitate to consult a professional mechanic. Taking the right steps can save you time, money, and frustration. If this video was helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button. And please, drop a comment below if you've ever experienced this frustrating issue. Don't forget to subscribe for more practical car tips just like this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.